Hello there, Comic Clan, and welcome to Comics in the Cross, the greatest streamers that you have never heard of.
I'm a geek. I use thought bubbles when I speak. I'm a freak because she's a seat down for me. I'm unique. There is only one of me. I'm complete, so I really don't care what you think of me. I'm a geek. I use thought bubbles when I speak. I'm a freak because she's a seat down for me. I'm unique. There is only one of me. I'm complete, so I really don't care what you think of me.
Funny, I was just sitting in the coffee shop one day, just being like, you know what? I haven't seen Goth Cowboys.
Yeah, so the Infinity Bros are saying that they like your Spidey themed stuff going on.
Dude, I gotta show you. Hold on.
Oh no, here we go.
You know, my thing is when the Lord gave me dominion, something huge, because God doesn't do anything halfway.
I appreciate the fact that the comic book movies like DC and MCU, they take the source material seriously, but they're not afraid to like show loyalty to the source material.
Sinestro is good, but there's no way in the world that Doom's going to lose to him.
I'm a geek. I use thought bubbles when I speak. I'm a freak because she's a seat down for me. I'm unique. There is only one of me. I'm complete, so I really don't care what you think of me. I'm a geek. I use thought bubbles when I speak. I'm a freak because she's a seat down for me. I'm unique. There is only one of me. I'm complete, so I really don't care what you think of me.
I was like, you know what? Not only are they not hiring black people to work on these films and cartoons, I don't see enough diversity. I don't see enough inclusion. I don't see people in wheelchairs or walkers. I don't see sickle cell characters.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
my favorite one. I got this for Christmas. It's Spider-Man Hulk.
Although I'm being shown up here, to be completely honest, because
Oh, yeah.
Lewis came in the show
Let's
like
give
this.
him a taste. Let's give him a
Show
taste
them
real
this.
quick.
Show them this, man.
Like, we went all out. We even got the knee socks. Got it all. Give him a twirl.
Yeah, man.
Character that is my number one, like no doubt about it. So this was one of the comics that was in, not this specific one, but this character in that box that I was referring to, that opened the gateway for me for comics for life. It's this guy right here. I know it's backwards, but it's Spawn.
So I hope you come here. I hope you feel loved. I hope you feel part of this family. This is the Comic Clan. If you want to be part of it, we are here with open arms for you. Hello there, Comic Clan, and welcome again to Comics in the Cross. But this week is not our typical podcast, as you can see by our new colour scheme.
Uh-oh, it's red.
Yeah.
What is this?
I decided to change it up a little bit, because this is... I want to count this officially as like our second show. This isn't our typical podcast.
I feel like I need a cup of tea.
We do need
Like,
a cup of tea.
With that font. I feel like with the pinky up.
Yeah, it's like, I can do it with my coffee. I can do the pinky up.
I'll do the Coke Zero pinky up.
Coke Zero pinky up.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Not sponsored.
Still waiting.
Would love
Still
to
waiting.
be. You know how like Coke's desperately wanting to sponsor like a Twitch channel with 240 people that follow it. Not like they're an international brand or anything, but yeah. So we've got a little bit of a different color scheme. I went with a kind of more maroon, chill tone, a little bit
Digging
of
it.
fancy.
I'm digging
right
it.
underneath, because this is our first ever official GWA coming in with that host. Thank you so much, my friend, for shouting this out. Let me give a shout out to you.
Stepping up the creative game. I like it.
Yeah, and ads popping in with the host as well, as always. Ads, thank you so much for that, host brother. In chat there, I know that official GWA does stream. They usually stream on Wednesday nights and AI Wrestling League. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, go ahead and hit that link and check them out. It's definitely a lot of fun, a great community. FYI, as we shouted out when he was playing Among Us with us last week, we try to be family friendly as much as we can. Official GWA is not. not in the slightest, so bear that in mind if you go and check out his stuff. It's like you're
Disclaimer.
Just so you know what you're getting yourself into. You hit me off if you need a character. Yeah, if you want to get involved in the wrestling league or whatever, and you don't have the game, don't have the console, but you think that'd be cool to get involved in, official GWA is also up for making characters for the league as well, so you can watch.
Sweet.
Yeah, I myself do have a character in there, Adrian Cross, who's part of it. Been doing that for about a year now, in different leagues. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. Disclaimer: today is not safe for work. No, not in the slightest. Not even a little bit. Just FYI, He's a great dude. I love him to bits, but he is not safe for work.
Not safe for work, not safe for family, not safe for life.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
That's right.
I think that about covers everything. But yeah, as I was saying, we've got a different bit of a colour scheme this week because this is technically the launch of our second show. Although we don't really have another day to do it on, so
Yeah.
we're going to be doing
We'll
it on.
just be switching back and forth.
We'll do it on Sundays. Hopefully, we'll get another day when we can separate it out a little bit. But we are going to be doing our first indie comic book club, looking at Locke and Key. And sad days, by the way, dude. Look, this book was in great condition, right? I picked it up to start reading through it. Look,
Sheesh, dude.
bunch of pages in the first issue fell out, and I'm like, dear goodness, it's not even like I've been that harsh on the book or anything. I don't know why, but they fell out.
So you know me. I'm a big fan of Second and Charles, which, if you do not know, it's a secondhand store in general. They sell a lot of books, but they sell a lot of comics that people bring in. I also buy comics at a local comic store, but I like to get like graphic novels and stuff like that. Like you really can't find a lot of spots. Amazon, man, used Amazon, get some really good prices.
Yeah,
just saying.
Go to Amazon if you're struggling to find it. Obviously, like as I've been shouting out online, definitely check up your local comic book store. Especially check them up because they're usually willing to work with you to find something. If they don't have it in stock, they're willing to order it.
Yeah.
You know, and definitely, Amazon does not need your money. Like they get money.
They
from
do
it.
not.
It's like, but local comic book stores are businesses that need it. That's why. Shout out to Richmond Comics here, our local comic book store. Actually, if you go back in our archives in YouTube. Which let me throw that link up in the chat. We actually did an interview with Philip, the owner of Richmond Comics,
super nice guy.
Good few months ago now, and just about how
that was one of our first interviews, dude.
Yeah, that's one of our first interviews. How the pandemic was affecting local comic stores, but they hooked us up with copies of Claws, which, as we announced, is going to be the book for our second episode of the Comic Book Club in December.
Yeah.
So shout out to them for hooking us up. Check them out. If you are really struggling to find it though, then Amazon can get you hooked up with stuff as well.
Like, make that your last ditch effort. Yeah. But
if in doubt, Amazon will have it. But check out the places that that really could use a business.
What up, Infinity Bros?
Oh, why is there no sound for that? That is weird. That never went off my headphones.
Oh, awesome!
Thank you so much for resubbing, Infinity Bros. Hey man, I'm assuming Isaac. Caught a little bit of the Infinity Bros streaming last night. If you are not checking out our good friends, the Infinity Bros, definitely go and give them a follow. They were actually streaming last night. I caught a little bit of it before I had to head off. They were streaming Friday the 13th, the game.
Nice.
So they were playing that, which was kind of hysterical to watch the 6 Infinity Bros play. I'm not going to lie. Quite a few of them are screamers. Just saying that.
just play with one headphone off.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, Isaac has been a good friend of the podcast for a while. He's actually been on the podcast a couple of times for different talks that we've done. So yeah, massive shout out to the Infinity Bros. Go and give them a follow. They're absolute legends. All those hype emojis. If you, of course, sub to the channel, you will get access to that hype emoji. And as you can see from the bar below us here, there, I'll use that hand. We are working towards getting our second sub emote. So if you have not subbed to the channel and would like to help us do that, by all means, we would greatly appreciate it. Yeah, so okay, I keep having to answer stuff in chat there. I'll get through this opening eventually. It's like we've not even introduced who we are yet, and we're 15 minutes in.
My name's Frank.
I'm Jeff
Castle.
Frank Castle, you wish.
Frank Castle wishes he was me. How about that?
Oh, you got a wife.
We can continue.
You got a wife and kids. He probably does.
That's balled up, dude.
Just saying. So yeah, if any of you haven't been here before, I, of course, am one of your hosts, Cross, along with my co-host Nitro, who's over here.
Me.
Yeah, you.
I was pointing to you.
I'm gonna say
me. That's me. Nitro.
You weren't even pointing at me. You were pointing off to the other side that I'm pointing. So you're
that's
hey,
the other guy.
He's over there somewhere. We of course run our podcast usually on a Sunday here at 2:00 Eastern on Twitch. So we decided to do something different with our comic book club though, and talk about some indie comics, because a lot of people know about Marvel and DC, and those are the two big companies, but there are so many great indie comics out there. So we decided to start doing an indie comic book club to start exploring some of them and start honestly hyping them up and getting them out there. So yeah, this has been fun. Now I'm confused. Which one's Cross and which one's Nitrogen B?
Cross.
Whatever. We answered.
No, Cross and Nitro. I'm Frank.
Yeah, I hope that
Got it?
cleared up absolutely
Got
nothing
it?
for you, probably. But yeah, so we are going to delve into this. This is going to be a little bit different for us. So so bear with us. We've kind of got a structure to this, but this is our first
Maybe.
time doing it, so this is still getting refined quite a lot.
Good.
Neighbor says perfect, got it.
Sweet.
And also as well, just to say, this is actually going to be my last week on the show for quite a few weeks. Actually, I'm going to be out for about 6 weeks.
I'm shedding a tear over here. If you can't see it, I'm gonna wipe that away a little bit.
So
how dare you leave? How dare you?
How dare I leave and go and
how dare you prioritize your family over this podcast?
Take care of my wife and my coming child. You know, it's. But yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, most of you probably do at this point. My wife is pregnant. She is due to give birth pretty much the first week of November. So to save trying to like reschedule stuff and change stuff last minute, I've decided to take off the last week of October because my children are notorious for coming early. So I'm going to be off next week and then taking the whole month of November.
Yeah.
Which it's about 5 Sundays, but could end up being 4 Sundays anyway because we were kind of up in the air if we were going to do the last Sunday in November because of Thanksgiving anyway.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be off on that day.
Yeah.
But every other one we should be good.
So, but for anyone who is still wanting to check in for those weeks, although I won't be here, Nitro is still going to be here. We have some amazing stuff coming up. Nitro, want to give them a little kind of preview of what's to come?
I have seen the hype around Among Us, so I will be getting Among Us pretty quickly. And I'll be probably alternating between doing some art streams. So suggestions on any comic characters, because it's going to be comic centric, obviously, that you want me to draw. And then I'll be doing a little bit of gaming and possibly a guest or two. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. You know, we'll see. I don't know. But yeah.
There we go. Yeah, so Nitro was just showing before he now has a second camera all set up for doing the art stream. So looking forward to seeing what that's going to look like, and looking forward to seeing Nitro try and figure out Among Us. So whatever day he ends up doing that, if you all want to pop in and play Among Us with him and keep him company, and you know, not leave him having to play with a whole bunch of randos, and we probably greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, now Cross does a really good job of promotion of the streams coming up. So I will try to do that as well. So I will let everyone know ahead of time when we're playing and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely Infinity Bros. I will let you guys know when I'm playing. I gotta play it a little bit on my own, so I don't look like a dummy when I play. But yeah, I'll let everybody know when that's happening.
It's easy enough. You'll pick it up quick. It's not a tough game to pick. But yeah, so I don't think we've really got any other major announcements for this week. Let me just do a little bit of plugging for us since we're here. So first off, just to kind of make sure I do mention them, up in our top corner above Nitro there, you see the logo for Gamer Grind Co. And they, of course, are the official sponsor for Comics in the Cross. Sorry, chat was kind of popping up there, distracted me for a second. But Gamer Grind Co. is official sponsors for Comics in the Cross. You can use that link to head over to their website, pick up some amazing coffee, which I am drinking their Checkpoint coffee right now, which is absolutely awesome. If you saw my post this week, I tried it with some of the cookies and cocoa like creamer from Coffee Mate, and it was good.
You said it smelled like a chocolate chip cookie?
It literally does. It smells so good. So yeah, definitely go ahead there, check out some of those amazing coffees, and pick yourself up a Comics in the Cross coffee mug and sticker as well. Make sure to use Comics in the Cross at checkout, save yourself 5%. Also, other ways to pick up some merchandise from us. We actually have a Teespring store with some amazing merchandise in it. I unfortunately don't have my Comics in the Cross t-shirt ready for today. I wore it last week and it's still in the laundry pile. But we do have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have leggings, we have kids tops.
Leggings, man.
Nitro, somebody buy a pair of leggings so that Nitro can stop. He's been pushing.
I'm gonna get a pair, and I'm gonna wear them for the stream, just for you.
We need you.
Not for you, Cross, but for the general you, as in the audience. I mean, if I can wear them for you too, if you want.
It's getting a little creepy now. I'm not gonna lie. It's getting a wee bit creepy now. But yeah, that's an amazing way to support us. If you also want to support us, you can also sub to the channel here. As I mentioned, we are trying to get up to 15 subs at least to try and get that second emote space unlocked. But you can also support us over on our Patreon for as low as $2 a month if you want to support the channel. Again, these are not necessities, but if you want to help us out, we greatly appreciate it. It allows us to get more stuff, especially picking up new books for the Indie Comic Book Club we're doing, get new equipment to run the streams, all that sort of stuff. If you don't, we'll get there eventually, but not quite as much. I don't know, I've got some chat coming in. Seal saying, unless you play with me. Yeah, Seal, you need to come in and play. That'll be a good crash course for Nitro if you play along with him.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey guys, how you doing? And Cross, no Indiana Cross hat. It's like an Infinity Rose saying, it's like, yeah, where's the fedora and the whip? So I was saying this to Nitro before we came on stream. I'm having to get used to not wearing the fedora on stream as much as it was getting a great reaction. Because my headphones are dying. So like I can literally only hear in the right earbud now. The left one's literally in my ear just to make sure it holds it in steadier and it doesn't fall out every time I tip my head. So I'm looking to get like proper like headphones. But I can't wear proper headphones and the fedora because it won't fit over the top of them, and the fedora can't sit on the headphones. So I'm having to get used to wearing caps again so I can actually wear the headphones on stream. So I kind of pull that away. I will wear it if the opportunities arise again. The fedora is not gone. It's still sitting here on my desk. It's just behind the monitor. So
you should put it in a frame, like a glass box behind you. If you can't, with a little stone headstone.
Yeah, alright, so just making sure I've kind of plugged everything we can. But yeah, so we're not going to do any news this week. We're just going to delve into the actual book itself because that's part of what this one is. Let me throw up the links for it as well. So what I've thrown in chat there is actually a good website to check out called Comic Shop Locator, because we want to premise them to checking out your local comic book store to see if they can help you in picking it up. And again, as I said, massive shout out to Richmond Comics who hooked us up with our books for December. So click on there and they'll be able to show you your local comic store. So if you want to pick up the books that we do on our Indie Comic Book Club, go and check out your local comic store and support them. They need the help during this time. And then also, if you can, as Nitro was saying, if you can't get it at your local comic store, we also have an Amazon list where we are going to I'm going to make a list and put every book that we do on Indie Comic Book Club onto that list, so they'll just kind of stack up. So if you click on that link now, you'll find, of course, Locke and Key, the book that we are covering today, which if you have not picked this up, then make sure you go ahead and grab it. You will not regret it, I promise you. Nitro, I'm going to give Nitro the chance to tell you about the fact the man read it in one sitting when he finally started getting into it. And also on that list is this Claws, which is going to be our December book, which we're going to be doing, I think, the second week I come back, so like the second week of December.
Okay.
We're going to delve into this and look at Claws, which, as if you're still in the chat, you need to pick this up. 100%. This is, if there's a comic out there for you, this is it. This is like a
Santa Claus was a Viking.
Yeah,
this would be it.
It's called Claus: How Santa Claus Began, and it's literally like a gritty kind of like medieval, well, not even medieval, like Viking-esque, like Santa Claus and how he took on that role. So ads 100% pick this one up. This is yours. This is for you. Like, this is, if there's ever a book we cover in Indie Comic Book Club for you, it's this one. And of course I have to give a massive shout out to it. It's written by Grant Morrison. Absolutely phenomenal, famous writer. Has wrote tons for Marvel, tons for DC, especially DC. Written some of the most epic big events and runs, and of course a fellow Scotsman, so I have to give him a shout out. So yeah, make sure you pick that one up, and we'll be doing that one in December when I come back. Obviously we're not doing one next month because I'm not going to be here and I'd like to be here for it. And otherwise I'll just be Nitro talking to a camera saying how much he loves a comic. And as much as I love Nitro, I don't have high hopes of him doing a 2-hour show based on that alone.
Oh, you know you'd like to see it.
I would love to see you try and fill it, especially if nobody in chat's read it and it's literally just you talking about it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Alright, so I think that's enough. Ooh, hitting my mic. I think that's enough kind of pre-plugging, so I think we are going to delve straight into Locke and Key.
Sweet.
So up front, this is my second reading of it. I have read this one before, and that's how I kind of knew about it and wanted to do it as the kind of intro because I thought it'd be a good book to start on. This was Nitro's first time reading it, so you're going to get a kind of first time perspective as well as a rereading of it and what our thoughts are. Hey, massive shout out to Co-op Trio Podcast. Let me do a shout out in chat for them. Absolutely brilliant group. Have an amazing podcast and do a lot of streaming here on Twitch. We literally watched them doing some pumpkin carving last night on Twitch. So,
Nice.
So 100% go and check out Co-op Trio podcast as well. So Nitro, first impressions of it, because we're not delving straight in. Just first impressions of the book. It's the first 6 issues, the first volume. Welcome to Lovecraft.
All right, so you and I have talked a little bit, like we've reserved the meaty stuff for the stream, but
and I'll say this to the stream as well. We literally haven't really delved into this with each other.
No.
Like he told me he read it, and I'm like, I literally want to hold back and hold this all for stream. So I'm not even fully sure of what his opinions are on it.
Yeah, I mean, normally we'll give each other very high level cliff notes of what we thought about it, so we know what we're going into. But all right, so you know me. Cross, you've known me for several years, and you know, I think by now, that I am a procrastinator. It is what it is. I've learned to deal with it. So as of Friday, I had not read it yet. 150 pages. So I was talking with Cross on Friday, and I was like, dude, I gotta read this. I need to read it at least once because I need to take some notes. And so I sat down on Friday and I read the entire 150 pages in less than an hour. Because I was going to break it up, like Friday, Saturday. But I was like, dude, this story is so engrossing. Like, I read it in one shot. It was awesome. One thing that I like with like graphic novels specifically is when they let the panels do the narrative and the speaking for them. Not necessarily a ton of dialogue or a ton of exposition or whatnot, but they let the panels speak for the actual story.
Yeah.
And I think this does it very, very, very well. I'm a huge fan of the art style of this book. I think there's 5 or 6 chapters, right? In this one, in this first volume.
Yeah, there's 6 in the first.
I love it's like and for those of you obviously who don't know, there's gonna be spoilers, so just a heads up.
Yeah, heads
if
up.
you
For
haven't
this,
read
we're
it.
going to go into all spoilers for this. So
Yeah.
if you don't care about that, fantastic.
Light,
if you want
spoilers.
If you want to read it for yourself, go check it out. Just lurk in chat, mute us on the tab so we can still get your viewership, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
But go pick it up and listen back on the archive on YouTube later if you need to.
So
we're going all in on this.
I'm a huge fan of like a simple narrative, but with a twist. Like this obviously has a supernatural twist, which was only kind of hinted at in this first volume a little bit. But I love that. That's why I'm a huge fan of some of Shyamalan's movies, M. Night Shyamalan, because he does that. He does that very well. Like his twists, and then there's twist on the twist. And I like it when you have a simple story that seems simple and you just added just a little bit of twist. And it totally changes the whole context of the story. So I really dug it, man. I can't wait to read the rest of it. So yeah, that's my high level. I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like this is my second time reading this. Let me just catch the chat before I do my stuff because we've had a few come in. So Coop saying, what's up, Isaac? And how are you all doing today? We are doing good, my friend. We are doing pretty good. Stoked to get more comic stuff in my life, my man. Always stoked for more comic stuff. Hey Kira, how's it going? Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you coming in, sweetheart. Isaac saying sometimes I do that on my night shifts and reading through the whole thing like you. And Coop saying spoil away. All right. Well, that's it.
Sweet.
We're going in spoilers.
What's gonna happen? Everybody dies. I'm just joking.
No, yeah, we'll wait and see. We've got 6 volumes to go. Well, technically, a couple of them kind of die. We'll get into that. Not really, but kind of, depending how you look at it.
That's true.
So yeah, I really didn't have any idea what I was getting into when I first read this.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting rereading this because I kind of know the context of what's coming. I kind of read up in the story and what was coming. Rereading it, I've now seen the show as well, which, by the way, shout out to the show on Netflix. They did a decent job of it.
So, okay, so that was a question that I had before we jumped too deep into it. Is the show, like, at least somewhat connected to the
Yes,
okay.
It's definitely got... It's definitely the same story. Like, overarching story. This is way better.
Okay, sweet.
It's not even a contest in my mind. Like watching Umbrella Academy, I can 100% like enjoy that. And I've talked about this before. Like it's different from the comics, but it's still freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Locke and Key's good.
Okay.
This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like it's
Because I was like, this got me hyped for the show. I'm like, if the show is anything like this, it's going to be sweet.
the show is not as much of a slow burn as this.
Okay.
The show, I think that's what the book benefits is, because at the end of this book, you are left with so many questions that you are desperate for answers to.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's what I love about indie comics. It's not a case of, yeah, it kind of is as like it dives into a lot of stuff that comes up later, and it kind of like merges them. Like you get a lot of stuff that's in volume 1, but like the head key is a big part of the show, but like in the comic, like Bodhi only finds it like at the very end. You see the head key, so like that's already in play in that one, and it's like it changes how the story plays out, and I don't think it plays out as well, in my opinion. Hold on, whoa, chat's blown up a bit. I read through Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run in one night, so good. Yes, 100%. That's probably the best run on Hawkeye anyone's ever done, is Matt Fraction's run on it. 100%. Yeah, and you go through that in one night. Dang, nice. Slow night. It must have been a slow night. He's literally just sitting. Emergencies going on around. That's fine. Hey, Cameron coming in. Hey, hope you guys are doing well. We are indeed. Let me give a shout out to One Geek 411 and other friends of the channel who have been on the show also. Yep, I did type that in right. And Humor is one of the hosts, one of the founders of it. So go ahead and check out One Geek 411. They actually do their podcast live on here as well. At their channel, and I think it's Monday nights, I believe it is, they record, if I'm correct. So what the Netflix show... Oh, hold on, okay. Dang, you are blowing up chat today, guys. Wow. I'm not used to having to keep up with chat this much, but it's awesome. I'm not complaining in the least. Is what the Netflix show based about? I didn't know, and looked too demonic to me, so I turned it off. Oh, no, I wouldn't even class it as close to demonic. Like, there's way worse stuff on Netflix. There's way more demonic looking than Locke and Key. Definitely not. Infinity Bro, it was a slow night. Yeah. Yeah, no problem. Absolutely grateful to give the shout out. They are friends of the channel, One Geek 411, Karen and the team. It's like, yeah, Mondays at 6:45 Mountain Time. I have no idea what that is, Eastern Time or any other time zone, because I'm lucky I know the time zone I'm in.
Is it Eastern, Central? I'm done.
Is it 2 hours? Really? Is it scary? Should I check it out then? I'd check it out. I think I would count the shows, like if you want to check it out, it's a good time of year to check it out. It's definitely a creepy and spooky story. It's not a horror story though. It's definitely it's more of a suspense. It's more of a suspense thriller. Yeah. It's definitely not. Don't get me wrong. Joe Hill did get the chops from his dad. He's written novels and they freak people out. Like Joe Hill's a good horror writer. Locke and Key is more of a suspense thriller thing. It is not a horror book. There are definitely horror books that we will go into on this. Like there's some great horror stories out there.
I wouldn't classify it as demonic co-op.
Oh yeah, not even close.
I mean, all right. I will say this: it's definitely adult. Like, there's definitely adult themes. There's cursing in it and some other stuff.
Yeah,
but it's not gratuitous. It's not gratuitous like some comics are. Yeah, they don't throw it in just to throw it in. It always serves a specific purpose to push the story forward.
Yeah,
I think.
Like if you're looking at the adult content in it, there is violence in it, but it's not violence for violence sake. It's part of the story. It's part of the way that it's developing, and it carries it forward. And they're reserved when they need to be. He's very smart about that. There's not any gratuitous sex or nudity or any of that sort of stuff in it. The biggest part of it is there is cussing in it. There is swearing. In the book, but no more than you would see in like an action movie, or like if you watch like, you know, most adult TV shows at this time or anything like that. Yeah, the show looks demonic, so I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm fine with all that stuff. I'm just careful in demonic stuff. Yeah,
I hear you.
100%. I completely understand that. But yeah, no, Locke and Key doesn't. It's definitely not. The main villain for it, we don't really get much of the backstory on them in the show or in the book yet. That's definitely stuff that's yet to come. Kenzie Fear is a bit creepy, but not demonic. Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's definitely like creepy stuff in it, but it's nothing demonic that I'm aware of. Obviously, I've not read the lighter volumes. Obviously, there's only one season of the show out, so I can't speak on the full story. But at least the first season and first volume, absolutely not. Nothing that I would class as demonic. But yeah, so like going into this for the first time, I'd started a sentence a while ago, and I don't know how long ago it was now. So rereading it, yeah, I'm definitely was coming in from a very different perspective. But the first time coming in this, I honestly didn't know. I just know I'd heard a lot about this. And I read through this. I didn't read through it in one sitting like you. I read it while I was at work, like in my lunch breaks. I would take comics in and read them on my lunch breaks. So I must have worked through it in about at least a week or so.
Yeah.
During my lunch breaks, and it's funny rereading it because I'm like, it's a very slow burn.
Yeah.
But I was gripped at every point. I was completely taken in by the story, by the characters. I wanted to know what was happening, and every issue I read, it added onto the story of like, okay, what's going on? Like if you basically go in with the mentality, I'm going to read the first volume, it builds, and it builds beautifully. Joe Hill does an amazing job of building the story and how it plays out. And Gabriel Rodriguez, like you said, the art is just stunning in this book. Like
one thing that I'm not a huge fan of is like sometimes comics when they'll start off and it feels like you're jumping into the middle of a story. And right when I started this, I felt like they were doing that, but they quickly, the way that they structure the narrative, it's just it's awesome. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
No.
You were talking about the art.
No, you're cool. I was just trying to find some good art. My book's falling apart. Just to kind of show off some of the art. I'm trying to find a page that's not got like massive spoilers on it, and also a page that's not got like any violence on it that's going to get us like banned. But like, I mean, the artwork is beautiful, and it's like if you look through it and you look at the way that it's laid out, it's like it's laid out with intent. It's laid out in art. Like Joe and Gabriel both come at this and make a story that is definitely a story you have to experience together. I don't think the story works without the art, or the art works without the story. I think they help. It's an amazing definition of what a comic should be.
Yeah,
it's a put together project by two people that make something unique that you couldn't get in any other format.
Yeah, it's so good, man. It's so good. Like, I have notes specifically for the art, but I mean, we can get into that in a little bit. But man, just the way that they lay out panels.
Yeah.
Again, it's 150 pages. It's 6 chapters, but within all those chapters, there's callbacks to even the way that they structure their panels. Like they'll do 3 panels up top with a big one on the bottom, and then they'll switch it and put 3 on the bottom and 1 on the top, and that consistently carry that type of structure throughout the whole story, so it leads to consistency, a throughput of the whole story.
Yeah,
awesome.
It feels like the same story. Like even like you get like the 3 panels, it's the one shot, and like slightly different things happen in each of those panels on the one page, and they do that a few times throughout the story. And
all right, so I have a page that specifically referenced that. There is a violent spot on it, so I'll try to cover this up.
Yeah, just because it's like we're not against like showing it. It's just a case of like I don't know how Twitch will react to seeing it.
Yeah,
like I said, the violence, in my opinion, is not for violence sake.
So like for this, it's the same. It's almost the same drawing. It's just slightly different, and there's barely any dialogue or any exposition on it. But just the way that they're framing it, and like
just you saying that as well. That sorry, go ahead, finish. I just
no.
There's something in there.
I was just saying, just the way that they're framing it. Just by changing the atmosphere of this panel where the drawing is exactly the same. Yeah. Just by changing the atmosphere, it's telling a story in each panel without saying a word.
And another thing I think it probably helped it resonate with you, because you're a big art guy, you're an artist. So like the art of the comic is one of the big important things to you. It definitely is one of the things that can draw you in.
Yeah.
This story has some amazing parts on it where the storytelling is completely drawing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There is no like not even just like that. I mean, like there's pages with barely any dialogue, like 2 or 3 pages with barely any dialogue.
Yeah.
But you don't miss what's happening. You know exactly what they're thinking and exactly what's going on, exactly what's happening in it. It's so beautifully constructed.
Well, and just I know we'll get into the story in a second, into the gist, but again, spoilers for those of you who've joined late. We're gonna spoil the crap out of this book, so I'm just throwing that out there. If you don't want to hear spoilers, you could just lurk in the background. We'd love your viewership.
Yeah.
But we are gonna spoil. We're gonna go into some spoilers.
We're going into spoilers. If you want, you can go ahead and still lurk, give us viewers, and mute the stream itself because that'll count you as not watching. If you actually go up to your tab and right click and hit mute site, it'll mute Twitch. And allow it to still count as a viewership. If you want to lurk and keep as a viewer, we would greatly appreciate that. But we also don't want to risk spoiling this, because if you want to experience this firsthand, experience it firsthand.
Yeah,
100%.
But all right, so in the very beginning of the story, Tyler, his dad, obviously gets killed by Sam and that grub dude, right? And then they go to they're doing a couple flashbacks, and then they do a flash forward to the wake. Everybody's been to a wake. Everybody knows what that's like. I don't know if you've been there for like a very close family or whatnot, but it's a weird situation just in general. And sometimes you just want to be left alone. And there's a scene where Tyler's sitting in the hallway on a bench, and you could tell he's just trying to process what's happening or what has happened. And you can see people come, have a conversation with him, and leave. Another person comes, has a conversation with him, and leaves. And he is in the exact same position, and it's just panel after panel after panel after panel after panel. And it's like just that repetition of visitation, leave, visitation, leave. You can just tell, like, it just adds so much emotional weight to that scene,
Yeah, like
again, without even saying anything.
Let me see if I can pull it up, because it's a really
I have
cool...
it right here.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just sitting on the bench, people coming up to him and talking to him. He's not moving.
Yeah. And that goes on for a couple of pages, because like where Nitro's got that open, it actually starts the page before, so there's actually like 3 pages, and most of the panels are the same like setting. It's that same hallway, and Tyler, the oldest son, sitting in it, and just how he's interacting with different people, and it's like it's so well done.
And they don't do splash pages often, but when they do, they're extremely poignant.
Yeah, they hit home. Like right after that, because that follows right after Tyler talks about having issues with his dad and not wanting to be there. And I think he literally says, like, I would kill to be anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then it literally cuts to that. So you don't even know that his dad's been killed at that point. It just jumps to the funeral.
Yeah.
And it throws you in hard. It does.
And even talking about saying stuff without saying things, without exposition. Like there's a spot in the book where so Tyler's mom, I forgot her name offhand, but Tyler's mom, Nina, that's it. So she's on the couch with their uncle because their uncle brought him back to the Lovecraft mansion. So she's on the couch and she's talking with him, and she said, the worst thing about this is when it's silent and nobody's talking, and I have to basically process this on my own. And then the next panel is just them sitting on the couch. It's silent. Just what she was talking about. Yeah. It's really cool. Yeah, I don't know why they blocked that.
I was going to say, I'm like, sorry about that, Kira. I have no idea why that blocked that. I'm like, body language and facial expressions, and I'm like, it's like auto mod review for sexual content. Like, how? I'm like, okay.
I don't know.
Skeets
whatever.
I've said this before. Skeets gets a bit over dramatic at his job.
Skeets is a bit temperamental.
He really is, but you know what? It's better than Nightbot, so we love you, Skeets. So just to catch up with chat as well, Coop saying, I was in poetry class and I asked my teacher if I could do poetry part with just pictures, and he said, no, he sucked. I don't know how you do poetry with just pictures. That'd be really interesting. Like,
isn't that called a painting?
Yeah. Sheriff Babylon is a great comic. I don't know if I know that one. I'll need to check that one out, Kira. Sheriff of Babylon.
Is Duncan the uncle?
Yes.
Okay, got it. I couldn't remember his name. I'm not good with the names, but
oh yeah, 100%. Duncan is like non-existent in the show practically. Which, by the way, at first I thought the Uncle Duncan in the show was played by Sean Ashmore, who plays Iceman in X-Men. Apparently it's not. It's his brother.
Really?
It's literally his twin. Like, they are identical. Like, I literally thought it was Sean Ashmore. Kira saying, for Sheriff Babylon, it's a good story, just be told with body language and facial expression. See, I love that when you get a good story and artist who can tell a story just like that, because comics have got an amazing medium to do that. Skeets is pretty protective of you guys. I think he's protective of us, but he hates you, Isaac. I know it was Kira that he flagged that time, but like there was that week he literally would not let you get a comment in. I don't know what you were doing, but he did not like you.
One thing that I will say, so for me, I think the first chapter was a kind of confusing until I got into the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth chapter, because it kind of tied it together. But one thing I think that Locke and Key does really well is it does exposition without you knowing or realizing that they're doing exposition. Mm-hmm. Like there's this page towards the beginning of the book where Bodhi, he's basically has to do a book report on what happened over the summer. And it's basically a 1 page.
That is awesome.
Of his drawing and his words of basically summarizing the entire beginning of the book, like for like a 4-year-old. and it's perfect for my 4-year-old brain because I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's what happened. Got it. But it's a really cool way.
We're still getting into that at some point as well. I'm not going to dive in the now, but like just in the fact of how well he writes kids to act like kids.
Yes,
It's done so well, but that's a whole thing to come. But funnily enough, you saying that, yeah, the first issue is like you kind of have to get used to the story. But it was kind of funny because I was just finishing up before we came on stream, and in issue 6, the villain Dodge, which is her actual name, or Echo as she's known for most of the book, actually says something to Bodhi, which is quite cool because she talks about a relationship with his father.
Yeah.
And she says that's a funny thing about children. They always think they're coming in at the start of a story when actually they're coming in at the end.
Yeah.
Which is almost kind of like thinking back to the start of it in issue 1. That's kind of what happens. Like we're like, okay, I'm starting issue 1 of this story. I'm like, no, we're thrown right into the midst of it.
Yeah.
We're thrown
Yeah, it
right
starts
into
immediately.
This story is already going. Like the opening thing, like literally the opening stuff is like Sam Lester, the guy who kills their father, coming to the house and killing their dad.
Yeah, like
that's,
their dad
that's
is
literally how it kicks off.
Their dad is murdered on like page like 6.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like immediate.
The dad being murdered is not a spoiler. That is literally the inciting incident. That is how the story starts. Like we're not spoiling it by saying that. Like that's what you start the story with, and it's like, and it's almost interesting of like the callback to that because this is it. This is you want to come in at the start of this story, and I'm like, and as you go through it, you realize, wow, this isn't even close to the beginning. Like there are so many questions that have led up to this point, and even at the end of the first volume, it's like you're left with more questions about what's actually happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so from those kind of initial thoughts, we've kind of talked a little bit about story structure, a little bit about the art. Do you want to kind of delve more into the story, or kind of delve into the characters and just do story as we go?
Sure, we can do that. We can go character if you want.
Yes, because I definitely want to talk about the characters, because the characters in here are done so well. Like they're all written so well. Like especially the kids. The main characters in this are the children, and the Locke children. So there's Tyler, there's Kinsey, and there's Bodhi. Tyler's about 17, 18.
Yeah.
He's like just about to leave high school. Kinsey's about, I want to say 16. And then Bodhi's maybe 5, something like that.
Yeah, man, between 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe something like that.
Want to throw any more numbers in there?
One thing I will say is like I feel like the way that they have their characters react in the book is a realistic way that someone would actually react in those types of situations.
Yes.
Like if a kid, all right, so one of the doors, all right, one of the gist of this comic is they are in this mansion.
I was gonna say let's give the overview of the story, because like the characters will fit into that, because we're about to go into it anyway. But you go for it, man. You're in the middle of it, just to see what we're doing, and let's do the overview of it. If I
miss anything, please fill it in. So the story starts off with these two guys coming to this house, and basically this guy named Sam and his friend Grub basically murder Tyler's dad because they're searching for something. We don't know at the time what they're searching for, but they're searching for something. Tyler kind of overhears them outside, and Sam goes out to find Tyler, and then he just beats the brakes off of him with a brick. That's basically that portion of the story. Yeah. So basically what happens is you have a funeral, all that stuff, and then their Uncle Duncan takes them to this mansion, which is I think it's a family-owned property, I guess. Right?
Yeah, it's a family house that was owned by Duncan and... Oh, I forgot the dad's name now. But like the dad... and
Russell, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so...
But like the dad and then... and the uncle, it was their parents that owned the
Rendell,
house. So
that's it.
Rendell, that's it. So Rendell and Duncan's parents owned this house. So they grew up here. This is their family home. And the kids live in like San Francisco, and the family home's like in Massachusetts. And so Lovecraft, which is essentially an island. It's almost like this island property with water behind it. And Rendell left, got married, had kids and stuff like that. And I think he even says at one point in a flashback to his wife, and that the house chose Duncan to be the one to care for it. We don't quite know what that means at the time, but Duncan's the one that's staying there, and he always said if something happened to him, I want my family to go with Duncan back to Key House, which is the name of the house.
So it's called Key House. It's on that island, Lovecraft. So the main gist is this house has got just crazy stuff. It's a supernatural kind of house. Like there's certain types of keys that open certain type of doors that can do certain things. One of these doors, if you open it with the right key and you walk through it, it will kill you and separate your soul from your body and allow your soul.
It will show up because this is the main key for the story, and that's what it looks like. So that's like the main one that it runs with.
So it will separate your soul from your body. So one of the first parts of the story is Bodhi finding that out, and he's floating around everywhere as a spirit. And so the main overall arching thing of the story is Sam, the guy who killed Rendell, Tyler's father, and Bodhi's father, and Kenzie's father, is searching for that key. So he's obviously in prison. There's a supernatural entity that's stuck in a well house at the mansion. She's called Echo at the beginning, but Dodge, I think, is her name.
Yeah, Dodge is the official kind of name for her.
One of the doors in the house, if you walk through it using the key, can turn you in. If you're a male, it can turn you into a female. If you're a female, it can turn you into a male. That's important. That's important. But she helps Sam break out of prison, which you can. The details obviously are in the comic. And he finds the Lovecraft mansion, and he basically is trying to find the key. He's trying to find that key for Dodge. He's basically doing her bidding, basically.
Yeah.
Is that the gist of it?
That's the most gist of it, yeah. So, like, Dodge doesn't really come into it more until, I think it's till, like, issue 3 we really start to see a lot more of Dodge. And because Dodge doesn't reveal herself to anyone but Bodhi at first. He's kind of playing around there. They've been told to stay away from the well house because, like, it's going to, like, collapse in itself and stuff. But he starts to hear a voice, and he asks if it's his echo. And she says, yeah, I'm your echo. So he thinks his echoes came to life and is talking to him. And she starts telling him how she's trapped there. She's trapped in the well. She can't get out. She's going to disappear if she walks through the front door of the well house because it's kind of like bricked off, roofed off.
Yeah.
But she says, but there's a closet in here, and if you find me a special key called the Anywhere Key, I can use it to unlock any door and go anywhere I want. There's literally a key. You unlock a door with it and just think of where you want to go and open it, and it will take you there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the main key. Like, the death key is the main key for the story that we see in action, but the Anywhere Key is what the hunt's for. Because we start to find out as the story goes on that Rendell, their father, knew her. And something happened. We don't know what happened, but he hid all these keys. He knew about these keys at Key House.
One interesting thing about that, what you just said, their father did know her, but towards the end of the sixth, I think towards the end of the 6th chapter, she actually goes through the door that turns you into a male, and so she's a male version of herself.
Yes.
And I actually, when I was going back through it the second time, there's a photo of their dad when he was in high school, and Dodge is in that photo, which I didn't realize, obviously, reading through the first time, but Dodge obviously knew their father really, really well.
Yeah, like, we get the thing of, like, that she knew them very well. She kind of hints that, like, the Bodhi's father would do anything for her.
Yeah.
But then something happened, we don't know what, and she got trapped in that well house again. We don't know how that happened. Like, all the stuff kind of wrapped around Rendell is a mystery. We don't know. That's the stuff that's obviously yet to come.
Yeah.
And she also hints at another key, the head key, which becomes a big part in the TV show. But we get a hint at the head key at the very end. She says that she can't remember what actually happened and where the keys were placed because he used the head key on her to alter her memories.
Okay.
So there's multiple keys that do multiple things. So kind of at the end when Sam comes back to the house, he makes his way back to Lovecraft. We'll go into his story as well because we get a lot more on him. And he's still hunting for the Anywhere Key because Dodge is the one that was getting him out of prison. He went to juvie for killing their father. She got him out. She's the one that's helping him, and the whole point is she's going to reward him if he can help her get the Anywhere Key and free her. So he goes to the family. That's what he was after Rendell for. That's what he wanted. And then so he goes looking for it again. While doing that, while doing that, Bodhi is basically with Dodge, gets the truth of who she is finally, and basically threatens, you have to bring me that so I can stop Sam from killing your family. So Bodhi goes and uses the death key to go into spirit form, and whenever you think of someone or you think of something as the ghost, you can transport to where it is. So if he thought of like his brother Tyler, he would go to him, which there's some funny stuff that happens with
Yeah,
that.
really funny.
And he thinks of the anywhere key, and he goes to his sister Kinsey, and he doesn't get it at first, and then he realizes Kinsey's actually wearing a bracelet that her father gave her.
Yeah.
And gave her a whole speech about how, you know, if you have enough confidence, this is the right one that's going to take you anywhere you want to go.
Yeah.
And it's kind of left ambiguous if he knew what the key could do or not at that point, because it's kind of up in the air that he might have forgotten a lot of this stuff because he grew up, got older, and moved away from Key House. But Bodhi takes the bracelet to Dodge, and she actually like lifts up the key and moves it out, so the key was actually in her bracelet the whole time.
Yeah.
And uses it to escape, and she leaves, and then she ends up going into Key House, uses the key that she has on her, which is the gender key that Nitro mentioned, to change from being a woman to being a man. Because, you know, if you're trying to hide from someone, one of the best things you can do is like in an instant change gender.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a woman who was in the well and she's now a man, like on the spot, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, we can't really do much about that then. But then she also kind of takes care of Sam as well at the end, which is like one of the most haunting endings to a kind of villain of a story.
Oh man.
But at the same time, I love stories like that with that kind of ending, because it sends a shiver up my spine, but I kind of love it.
Yeah.
And where Dodge finds him, the police are coming at this point, and he's like, you said you would help me, and you would, you know, she, who's now he, says, I'm going to set you free, and I'm going to give you more power than you could have hoped for. And throws him through the door with the dead key opened. After his body's been shot as well, and then locks the door and closes it, because you have to go back through the door to re-enter your body. So Sam is basically taken care of by Dodge and is left as a ghost.
Yeah.
And it's like, and even at a point when someone opens the door with a different key just to check it,
Pretty sure she snaps his neck too.
Does she snap his neck as well?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did.
So like his body is done. So if he ever re-entered his body, he'd be dead. Pretty much, whether it's the gunshot or whether it's the neck snap, like he's done. To the point of like that door then gets opened as people are checking the property and stuff, but it's opened by a normal key, and you just see like Sam's spirit hanging there, and it's like it's very haunting.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Sorry, I'm looking at the panels that you're talking about. So cool.
Worries. So just to catch up with chat a little bit. Kira saying, so what is she, a ghost or like someone trapped in one place?
I don't know.
It's very up in the air, because like I don't think she's a ghost, but she's definitely not a normal person.
Yeah. Because
Dodge is like, it's clear that there's some supernatural power going on there, and she's been trapped in that well house. But she definitely has a physical form, because we see her at the very end actually talking with Tyler and being introduced to the family as this new kid at school.
Yeah.
So she's kind of getting in with them, but she's clearly a person. So
yeah, one thing I think it might be important for the later volumes is so Kenzie is doing track. One of the things that I really like about her character is the way that each character processes the grief. Kenzie's way of processing it is, I want to blend in. I don't want anyone to recognize who I am. I don't want anybody to talk to me. I just want to blend in and just be a fly on the wall. So she has dreads at the beginning of the story. She takes those out. She dresses totally different. She starts running track because that's the one thing that she loves to do is run. And the coach one day has her in her office, and she sees that bracelet with the anywhere key in it. Or is it the anywhere key? Yeah, it's the anywhere key.
Yeah, it's the anywhere key.
And you can tell that the coach knows what it is, or at least recognizes it for something that's more than a bracelet. And she shows Kenzie a picture of her father, and her father's wearing the bracelet, and Dodge is in that photo.
Yeah.
But this is before you know Dodge is, who
And
she is
also
or
as
who he
well, I
is.
think those characters, like if you watch the show, you start to get a lot more backing on those characters. Like the characters he used to spend time with when he lived there start to become more important.
Yeah.
And we already know the coach does, because at the very end, after Dodge has escaped and changed into a man who I think he goes by Zach in the
Okay.
human form, but Dodge basically goes to see the coach and says that he wanted to pop by and see her, since he was the person that killed her mother. And it's like, so it's left open of like Dodge has got some history with the people in Lovecraft, but but it's literally left open at this point. We don't know what's going on. Quick shout out as well for Queen Gamington, who came into chat. Thank you so much for coming in. Queen Gamington, for anyone who may knows, and does a lot of the online wrestling leagues with us. She's actually one of the people that helps run Digital Unicorn Gaming over on Facebook, so I want to give a massive shout out to them. Even though they are on a different site than Twitch, go ahead over to Facebook Gaming and give Digital Unicorn Gaming some love. I think Mel is on it mostly streams there, and she streams like practically every day. So give them some love. They've been giving us a lot of love, a lot of shout outs. They've got the Comics Necross logo up on their page when they're streaming. I've just gotten their new logo, so I'm going to try and incorporate it somewhere into our stream now that I've got it. But massive shout out to them. Go and give them some love over there. But yeah, so, and by the way, if anyone's like not totally following along what we're saying, I know we're kind of jumping back and forth.
Yeah, we're all
with
over the
stuff
place.
with it. Yeah, Dodge and Ellie have a massive history. Yeah, 100%. And I'm really intrigued to see how that comes out in the books. Because I know we see a little bit of it in the show, but I'm intrigued to see how it comes out in the books and how they play that, because it's so well done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited. And that's something else as well for Dodge. One of the things, like Sam was looking for keys for her. The big thing that we get talked about is the Anywhere key. But the other key we don't really hear much about is that she's looking for the key to the Black Door. Which I've seen what it looks like, because it's on the cover of one of the other volumes, and it's literally like a black key with an Omega symbol on the end of it. And it's clearly hinting at something big that's going to be happening. Yeah, the Omega key. And it's like, that's going to be a factor, but again, we don't see that in volume 1. It's like, and honestly, if you don't notice him mentioning it, it's easy to forget about. Yeah. Because there's so many other keys in play that are actually active, and because I think we see like 3 keys being used in this book alone. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions for stuff, or we've not explained anything fully, by all means, please let us know. Like I said, it's our first time doing this and going through the book, and it's easy to kind of go through when you know the story, but if you don't, then we want to make sure you're all keeping up with us.
But one thing, hold on.
You alright?
Go back to your room. Yeah, sorry, a little one came in the room.
Got an invader.
So one thing that I really liked about, and I know I mentioned this, is the way that each character individually processes their grief. And I think it's done in a really realistic way, because like not everybody does it. Not everybody processes that stuff the same.
Yeah.
Like you 100%. Have the mother just basically starts drinking a lot.
Yeah, she basically becomes an alcoholic.
Yeah, Tyler, the son, he basically just starts doing yard work, like just anything with his hands that he can do, like physical labor. He's Bodhi comes in one time and he's in his shed and he's crying, and then with his back turned to him, he's wiping his eyes because he doesn't want anybody to see him processing it. And then Bodhi is just curious. He just wants to talk to his dad, and he'll do anything he can to do that, whether that's talking to Dodge or going through that door that basically turns him into a spirit. And you have Kinsey, who's just trying to get through life. And I think all of those interactions with each other and stuff like that, I just think it's done in a really, really human way. And a lot of books don't do that. A lot of books just kind of apply the same like template of grief to all the characters, and it's not that way. That's not life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see them all processing on their own levels. Like we mentioned, all the kids are different ages, and then the mom's processing, and then Uncle Duncan's processing because his brother's died, and
he goes into caretaker mode. Like I'm going to take care of this family.
He's like, all he's focusing on is I have to take care of his wife and kids because he's gone now, and they're falling apart. You know, it's like the way it's handled so much, and even the relationships between them are so well done. like the relationships between the kids and how they act are 100% siblings. It's 100% brothers and sisters, like talking to each other, getting in each other's nerves, having shots at each other, all that sort of stuff, and it's so well done. Even the mom, like you see great relationships with her, like, you know, she's basically geared up with a handgun now because of what happened, obviously.
Yeah.
And she even tells, like, you know, Tyler and Kinsey where it is in case they need it. And she has a real conversation with Kinsey, because Kinsey is like, well, Dad never wanted it, and she's like, Dad's not here to say no. And if something happens, you guys need to be ready. You guys need to be prepared. And you even see a great relationship with her and Kinsey, when like the police officer comes to visit her, to tell them that Sam's escaped prison and could be coming. And she sends Kinsey up to her room, like full well knowing that Kinsey's going to be listening. And that's the first thing she does when Kinsey comes down. It's like, how much did you get? And like the whole thing, and just goes straight into talking to her about it. It's like, it's such great relationships. The characters and their bonds are just so amazing. So let's take them one at a time, then let's kind of delve into them a little. Like Tyler, flipping heck, he's probably the most roller coaster of all of them, because
he was one that I didn't understand right at the beginning. I'm like, I'm not getting this dude. I don't understand what's going on. Like, but obviously once the story goes in, you know, it fleshes it out a bit more.
Yeah, because with Tyler, again, all spoilers for the characters here. We've done a lot of spoilers, but just, you know, in case you've missed that part of what was said.
Again, everybody dies.
Yeah. Oh, well, Bodhi dies a few times if you count leaving his body dying. But Tyler is very much at the beginning at the beginning you see them at their summer home, and you see him basically complaining. He wants to be anywhere but here. We've got chat. Psych Geek Girl, hey, how's it going? Psych Geek Girl just recently dropped us a follow and stuff, so thank you so much for coming in. I believe Psych is also a streamer, so let me give her a little shout out. And thank you for popping in. Yes, I did that correctly.
Kingdom Hearts 3, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, there you go. You've got Nitro interested now. Saying it's cool to see a comic discuss how grief is processed different by everyone. 100%. Like, I mean, my heart breaks for Tyler, because at first he just looks like the moody, like older teen who'd like just I don't want to be here. I'd rather be anywhere else. My life is so horrible, and then he takes his dad's death the hardest, and you start to understand why as the story goes on. You start to find out the relationship. You find out that he felt his dad was always on at him, was always trying to teach him, always. I mean, he even says that he talks to Sam at one point because they were at the same school. And he says like that, it's like, why can't I just make a mistake? Why does everything have to be a moral lesson? Why does it? And he feels like, I can't do anything right. He's constantly on me, constantly trying to teach me. And like, actually, like, in Sam says that he, you know, it's like he just wakes up wishing he could kill his dad, and Tyler even laughs and jokes and says, yeah, well, when you do it, go ahead and kill mine as well. And
and that's like an emotional, like, that's one of the emotional anchors of Tyler, because like he feels like he killed his dad basically, and saying that,
and ends up killing him, and he takes the full weight of not only having that horrible relationship with his dad and realizing, like, I was so ungrateful, I was so unwilling to work with him, I was just so angry at him for no reason, and it's my fault he's dead. If I hadn't said that, Sam wouldn't have killed him. And you see him carrying the weight of that. He just shuts down, and he just goes into, you know, like Nitro said, he goes into work mode. He goes into caretaker mode, taking care of the lawn, taking care of the outside of the building, working on stuff, just trying to keep himself busy constantly. And it's like, and you see him carry the weight, and, you know, like you said as well, like him, he even starts to break down, like, I'm so sick of it all, I don't know what to do. And it's like, and it's him talking to his dad, or hoping his dad's hearing him. And Bodhi walks in, and he's like, he's trying to wipe the tears, like, and he says, like, I need to stay strong. Because
and
that kid needs a good life. He needs to know that things can be normal.
And one cool thing, like, going back to that wake scene that I was talking about earlier, is like Tyler tries to remain strong for his family, and for himself mainly, you know, because he doesn't want other people to see him like break down. But like, there's this one part where all these people have visited him, panel after panel after panel after panel. And then Duncan finally sits down beside him, and they change the point of view to like a dead-on shot of them talking beside each other. And then you see Tyler just like lose it, break down, and he like literally falls on Duncan, and like he's like pouring tears. And like that's like I mean that's reality. Like you hold yourself together for a certain period of time. You put on that facade that you want other people to see, and that's not gonna last. That's just gonna break.
Yeah, 100%. And as pointed as well is that Sam also reminds him of that later on when Sam does come to
Yeah,
the
he does.
Lovecraft
That's
Key
right.
House, and he even says that to him. It's like, "That's so you killed him for the keys," and he says, "No, I came in, and shook him down for the keys. I killed him because you asked me to."
Yeah.
And I made sure I told him that before I killed him.
Yeah.
Which is such a great juxtaposition for Sam, because we've literally just had a couple of issues prior, Sam's backstory, and actually a lot of humanizing of him and kind of almost feeling sorry for him. And then it completely whips you back and like, dang, you're a monster.
Yeah.
You are such a monster, and you almost had me feeling sorry for you.
The way that they told his story kind of reminded me of the Joker. Now, you know how the Joker always changes his backstory, like depending on who he's talking to or whatnot. Sam, like, I forgot how they frame it, but he's talking to someone, but it's visually showing his growing up, and what he's saying, it's like direct, like opposition to actually what happened. Like he was talking about his parents were not that bad.
I think it's when he's talking to Rendell, because
Rendell, that's right, he's in his office.
Rendell's the guidance counselor at the school, so Sam knew him. He knew him personally. And we get a lot of backstory. Let's jump into Sam as well, because that's the main part of Tyler. And don't get me wrong, we get a lot of great stuff with Tyler as well. Like Tyler's the one that basically beats Sam down the first time with a brick and takes him out. Yeah. And then it's like he's part of the reason that he gets taken down the second time, between him and Kinsey, and it's so well done. But Sam, like, we're thrown straight into Sam being a monster, Sam killing Rendell, going straight to juvie, and the only thing we find out after that is that Dodge is the one that basically put him up to it. Then we get, I think it's issue 4, I think it is, we get his backstory. And it turns, and you feel so sorry for him in this, because he's from this crappy family with a mom who really doesn't care about him, who, I think we see him coming in, he talks about how if he got, him and his mom talked, and if he got like in the 600s in his SATs, they would talk about him going to college. Yeah. And she basically just, pushes him to the side, like, I don't really care. It's like, you're going to stay with your dad tonight because I'm going to go out and drink and go out and do this stuff, and, and take your baby brother with you. And he goes to his dad, and we see his dad, like, beating the crap out of him because, like, he's writing his college entrance letter. Yeah. And he's basically talking a bit about it, and his dad thinks he's telling everyone how horrible a father he is, and starts like laying into him. Which of course we see him then, this starts to come out at school when like a jock tries to like stick his jock strap in his face, and Sam bites him, and he gets expelled for a couple of weeks, and then he's brought back to talk to Mr. Locke, who's the one that stopped him from getting, or well, he got suspended, the one that stops him from getting expelled. Yeah. And he says to him, like, look, here's the papers for financial aid for college. He says, unfortunately, I can't write a recommendation letter because I think you need to see a therapist. I think you need to talk to someone. There's a lot going on. And the honest truth is, he comes to him in a really good way about it, because he's like, there's a lot going on. Yeah, he's really trying to help him. You need to speak to someone, and you can see him wanting to help him. While he's doing that, though, and like while he's doing stuff in his office, you see Sam also like looking at pictures that are hanging up. And one of them is a drawing or a painting that Duncan has done of the well house, and as Sam is staring at it, all of a sudden you see Dodge at the window, and then she starts writing like help me and stuff, and basically starts using it to call out to Sam. And it was like I don't know about you, but like moving pictures and stuff that aren't meant to move like that are stuff that freaks me the heck out, and I'm like, that's not meant to be like that. And like ever since I watched like Witches when I was a kid, and that girl like at the very start gets put in a painting, like stuff in paintings moving that aren't meant to freak me the heck out, I'd say I was shocked with Sam and Kinsey part in the cellar. That was 100%. We'll definitely get to that bit, but that was freaking brutal. But yeah, so he starts to kind of connect, and when he comes out of speaking with him, he sits and talks to Tyler, who was actually in there before him, and he saw storming out and arguing with his dad. And that's when they have the conversation and stuff about, like, oh, are you waiting for a ride? Oh, I'm waiting for my dad. Or you waiting for a ride? And you start saying, you know what, yeah, sometimes I wake up and I wish I could just kill my dad. And Tyler tells him, it's like, well, if you ever do that, go ahead and kill mine too. And
I mean, I just feel like the way that they portray Sam, like just visually, because the whole time he's just like no expression, his hands are down by his side, and it's almost like they take that frame and put it in every panel that he's in.
yeah,
Like no expression, big doe, like watery eyes, like very like welcoming, I guess is not the right word, but
it's kind
like
of
some very approachable, I
it's
guess.
kind of a weird combination because it's a weird combination of approachable and like sociopath.
Definitely sociopath.
Like he seems like a nice enough kid, but there's something just off about him. Like he doesn't respond normally the way
Yeah.
people would respond emotionally to stuff.
Yeah.
Like even just the way that he obviously like Dodge talks him into it, but the fact of like it's not just that he kills Rendell, like he kills so many people in this story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he kills his parents, he kills his uncle to steal his truck and go to to their summer home right at the start of it. When he's trying to get to Lovecraft, like he basically is doing sexual favors on a truck driver
Yeah.
to get a ride as close as he can, and then kills the guy.
Yeah.
He gets in
He
a
kills
bus.
the fisherman.
He kills a fisherman, like he kills a busload of people that are traveling there because he thinks one of the women recognize him. So he
Yeah.
kills the bus and takes it there and sets it on fire. And he gets a fisherman to like take him on to like Lovecraft from the water side, the side they thought was safe, and then kills the fisherman on the journey there. And like he literally murders people and like without remorse.
Yeah.
Like, and even like what Ads is saying, like with Kinsey, like he's traveling through there and Kinsey's out looking for Bodhi because he's out at night and like, okay, time to come back to the house, Bodhi. And like he beats the crap out of her.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
she is bloodied and battered. It is freaking brutal what he does.
I was
to her.
like, dude, if he kills her, I'm putting this book down.
I know, and it's like I'm surprised she did not die. Like he lays into her so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at least she gets her revenge later, like when like Ty tackles him and she gets to shoot him, to kind of chase him off. Like thank goodness she got a bit of revenge in him for that. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, but yeah, he is definitely a sociopath, and it's like, but there's
Yeah.
that moment you feel sorry for him. Like, is this what caused it? And part of you is almost kind of like partially,
Yeah.
but also like if that bad home life is what led to it, it's like, dang, you went from 0 to 60, son.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
went so harsh. It's like,
What I think one cool way that they kind of show who he is without showing who he is like when he comes out. So Tyler's sitting out on the steps. That's when they first meet. Sam and Tyler meet. They're sitting out in front of the school on the steps, and Sam comes out and sits behind him on the steps, but beside him, and he kind of leans back on his shoulders, which you don't see him do that all. Like he's relaxed. He's leaning back on his elbows, like on the steps,
Yeah.
and he's nonchalantly talking about killing his dad. And like, it's like the visualness of him just sitting there, like just chilling, relaxing on his elbows, and then talking about killing his dad. It's like, wow,
yeah,
dude really has no remorse whatsoever.
yeah, it's like
He knows exactly
you
what he's
don't
doing.
Feel what you feel, and
Yeah,
you know, it's like it's so well done. I'm really intrigued to see what they do with Sam later on, just
Yeah.
because of what Dodge says to him, that she still needs him.
yeah,
And when he throws him through the door, so like now he's a spirit, basically, probably hanging around Key House.
dude. I didn't catch his spirit form until when you said that. I looked back through the book and I was like, holy crap, it's right there, almost at the end page.
It's just like the little wisps that they make the ghost up of, and if you look closely, you just see the outline of Sam's face and like upper body. And it's
That's
like
crazy.
it's so simple because it's so easy to forget. Like, okay, Sam's dead and taken care of, but no, she threw him through the door when the dead key had opened it. So like, yeah, he's a ghost now,
Yeah,
and he can't ever go back to his body because his body's dead. If he goes back, he is dead. So like, he's now trapped like that.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's one of those like, I don't know, it's one of those brutal kind of finales to him of like, you know, fate worse than death sort of things, and then you're like, but also a fitting punishment for what he did.
Yeah,
And you know, yeah, you trusted Dodge and you got screwed over. Like, not surprised.
yeah,
But yeah, let's move on to the other main characters then, because we'll talk about Kinsey and Bodhi at least.
mm-hmm.
I really like Kinsey. I think she's a really well written character. I love watching her journey and her grief.
yeah,
because she does, and it's like it honestly reminded me a little bit of like when Brad Bird and stuff had created like the Incredibles, talked about creating Violet, the girl that could go invisible. That there's this thing in some teen girls where they want to just disappear and just kind of hide away.
Yeah.
It really, that was what reminisced with me with this, because you see her like when Sam kills their father, Tyler takes him out. Tyler lures him into the basement, and the two of them have a massive fight. Like he's almost killed, and
beats the brakes off of him with a brick.
He beats his face off with a brick. Like he batters him. Like how Sam survived, I do not know.
Yeah.
But Kinsey didn't. Kinsey took Bodhi, and they went up on the roof and hid behind the chimney, because the chimney was a fair size. When you come out the back of the house, they could see one side of it. You couldn't see round it. So like, and she talks about it like literally the only way I survived was going from moment to moment. Thinking, don't breathe, don't move, don't anything.
Well, yeah, and the way that she's describing that one scene is crazy. She talks about biting her lip. She didn't bite her lip; she was going to scream, so she bit it until it bled.
And
then she almost choked Bodhi.
Yeah, like Bodhi had bruises around him because she was holding him that tight, because she's like, if I don't, he'll make a noise, and we can't afford it. It's
like little things like that like they just flesh out the story so much.
Yeah, it was so well fleshed out, and it was so well put together.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like you see that with her, and then like she has like dreadlocks and stuff at the beginning. She's very kind of like, you know, she's into like Bob Marley. She's got like a Jamaican flag and Bob Marley picture up in her room, and obviously greatly influenced by that stuff, and you know. But then she kind of takes it out, like she takes her hair out and leaves it down and stuff, and because she's like, now that we're in a new place, everyone's going to know I'm the girl whose father was murdered, and I don't want to do anything to stand out any more than I have to.
Yeah,
like I don't want to be seen anymore. I'm like, she like literally is just wanting to fade away into the background. Even when she like goes out and does track, she's like, I've always loved running. She does track, and it's her and the other girl like literally pushing each other. And the girl like shakes out her hand and asks her, like, do you want to go running on Saturdays? Like, I run Saturday mornings here.
Yeah.
And she says no. And she said, and her whole thought process as she walks away is like, because if we go running, then afterwards you're going to want to talk, and if we want to talk, you're going to ask me if I ran at my old school, and that's going to lead into my old life, and that's off limits.
Yeah.
And she's like, and she's just so shut off from everything. But then we get that great story. I think issue 3 takes us through her story. And I said it to you at the start, it's really cool that each issue kind of focuses on different people. Like, issue 1 has a major focus on Tyler, issue 2 focuses on Bodhi, issue 3 is Kinsey, issue 4 is Sam. And then we start delving into the wrap-up of the volume 1. So in issue 3, we get her really kind of coming to terms with herself of she doesn't want to hide away anymore. She wants to still be her. She doesn't want to be afraid forever. She's like, you know, and she's even looking in the mirror like, I'm going to be haunted whether or not they even catch Sam. I'm always going to have him over my shoulder. And she's like, so, and she cuts her hair, so she does this like kind of like short on one side, kind of like over the side, tied down, and does this completely unique look, and goes to the house of the girl who wanted to go running with her, and she's like, yeah, let's go running. And she's kind of
starting to accept it.
You get to see her like literally transition from that process of being scared and wanting to just hide away and just forget about it to, I don't want to be scared forever. I want to try and reclaim my life. It's such a great way of dealing with it, and it's such a great difference from the way Tyler's dealing with his. Like, they're both completely different. You know, and then and just seeing that relationship as well, and seeing her relationship with her siblings, seeing her relationship with her mom, and it's so well put together.
Yeah, one of the cool things like that involved her was when Bodhi was, because Bodhi was trying to tell them about that door, the dead key, for like the whole volume, and obviously it wasn't. They didn't do the typical, oh, the kid's telling me something that's really weird and nobody believes me. They weren't going that route, because Kinsey actually went along with him and like tried to look at the door and stuff like that, and he actually went through and he like keeled over and died, and it's just a bunch of panels of him laying on the ground, and she's like screaming at him to get up, and then she leaves, and then she comes back and she goes, this isn't funny. And then she leaves, and she comes back, and you can see her stick her hand through the door, and she's like, all right, you really need to get up now. Like, you can tell, like, yeah, he's annoying. He's a little annoying brother, but she loves him to death. And she doesn't want anything to happen to him, and she kind of believes him. I think that there's an indication that okay, something's up right now.
Yeah. It's like she's willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, and like, and even if this is him like processing like his
Yeah,
grief, which a lot of them
exactly.
think, they're willing to go along with it. Because Tyler
Yeah.
does the same thing with him. Tyler does the like when he says he heard somebody in the well house. Like when he first hears Dodge in the well house, he freaking takes off.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he's like, there's somebody in there. And when Tyler goes and like shouts in, there's nobody there. And like, and Kinsey's like, well, what if, shouldn't we check it out? And he's like, well, no, if there was someone in there, it's like, you know, it's like if there was someone trapped in there, they'd be shouting their head off. There's no way in the world anyone's just sitting in there. And if they've been in there for a long length of time, they're not really going to be able to be saved at this point, you know?
Yeah, and even when Bodhi talks to his mom, he's telling him about the dead door or the dead key rather, and that he's floating around as a spirit. And his mom's like, you trying to talk to your dad?" And he's like, "Yeah, if I can find him." And she goes, "Well, if you see him, tell him I said hey."
Yeah.
Like she's just like, "All right, this is how he's grieving. This is how he's processing this. I'm gonna support him however I can, even though this is really weird." You know?
Yeah, but I love it though because like they react like you would imagine people would react because they think
It's like a real
because
it's
of
real.
like Bodhi reacting as far as they're concerned. Bodhi is reacting like a kid would react. Like how would a
Yes.
kid process that their dad's dead? It's like, oh well, I can turn into a ghost and I'm going to go try and find dad. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you go and do that, Bodhi. You
Yeah.
do what you need to do. And it's like they let him process and deal with it. And it's like, I think that's the thing. All the characters feel real. Like, let's get into Bodhi then because we're kind of hitting on him anyway.
Sure.
It's like Bodhi is 100% written like a kid.
Yeah.
He feels like a little boy. He literally feels like a little boy. Like, I mean, like they get to Key House and everyone's out exploring the grounds. First thing Bodhi's doing, he's up on a chair trying to get a sword off the wall because there's like a mantle piece with swords on it.
Yeah.
And to which case he then sees a key above the door, which is the dead key that he finds, and he goes to get that with a sword falling off behind him, almost taking him out. You know, like, he's a typical little boy hurricane that's like wrecking the place that he's just arrived in.
Who comes within inches of death pretty much multiple times a day. So.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, it's like that. It's like, you know, like even in the opening, like when we talk about the opening of the summer house.
Oh my gosh.
We get Tyler like doing his like existential crisis into the water, and Bodhi like sticks his hand up. I caught a turtle and it pooped in my hand.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
And just like, their reaction, just like Tyler and Kinsey's reaction is like, yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Go get cleaned up. You know, it's typical like stuff like I could see like real conversations like this. It feels real. And even Bodhi, like when he's processing like with the dead door, and like he tries to tell his brother and sister because he doesn't want to keep it a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Like he goes to see his brother, and his brother's in the shower. But it's like, of course, like he hovers in front of the water, and it turns the water like freezing cold. And like he freezes them out, and like he goes later to try and tell Tyler, and Tyler's like basically, you know, making fun of him, and he says, "I hope you like cold showers." And there's that like look of like concern and confusion on Tyler's face. I'm like, how did they know that?
How did you know that? That's weird.
And then Kinsey like goes to see Kinsey, and Kinsey's like having a breakdown in their room, remembering like being on the roof. And he goes to try and talk to her, and she thinks he's been spying on her, so chases him downstairs. I feel so sorry for him because he tries so hard.
He's trying. Like this is just normal for him. Like he's trying to tell people. Nobody's listening.
Like, this thing happened. I'm trying to tell you all. None of you care. And then even him and Dodge, like he connects with Dodge or Echo at the time, and like he honestly is trying to help her. You know, it's like and he even gets smart. Like I love even at the end, like he's talking to her and he's connecting with her and stuff. And then when he realizes, like he also gets dreams of his dad, try to tell him stuff, and like almost like his dad's trying to give him warnings. And I think it's in the second dream he tells him the knock knock joke, which he says like, you know, knock knock, who's there? Who? And he doesn't know the end of it. He wakes up before he gets the ending, and he asks Tyler, and Tyler goes like, "What are you, some kind of an owl?" And so he spends like the next little bit trying to work out what that means until he tells it to his Uncle Duncan, who tells him like, "Oh, well, the way I used to tell it was like, what are you, some kind of an echo?" And his eyes just kind of like widen, and I'm like, his dad was trying to warn him, that Echo was not safe, and like, but he goes back to see her one more time, and like after all that connecting with her, like he says, I even considered not coming back. but if you're not my echo, that means you've been here a lot longer than that. And I need to know who you are, what you are, and how you know my dad. Like, this kid just turns it on so smart, but it's also so believable that he came to this conclusion because there's been a process to build up to it. It's so well done, and unlike the other two, he's not really grieving his dad, as he's got this whole mystery he's trying to solve, and he knows his dad is involved and possibly even trying to help him.
Yeah, he's got a puzzle to solve, and that's what's taking up his time, his mental energy. Yeah.
So it's almost like a completely different thing from that, and it's so well done.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. But yeah, what did you think of Bodhi then? Because Bodhi's kind of mostly a ride-along character for a good chunk of this. He kind of drives the story in this one.
Yeah, I like Bodhi. I feel like he's the heart of the story, honestly. Like, I mean, because he plugs into every narrative, and it basically funnels to him almost. Like I said, I really like the way that they use him as exposition without using exposition, like that one panel that I was showing where, the summer book club type thing. But yeah, I really liked him. I thought he was an awesome character, and I agree with you 100%. I feel like they wrote him like a real kid would react. So
absolutely. And the kids are written so well, and then the supporting characters I think are given enough as well.
I agree,
to help bolster that. Like the mom's a factor in it, but she's not overwhelming. That's one of my issues with the show, is I feel like the mom's in it too much. Because like where this is a slow burn, and like we're really just dealing with the dad dying, and
pretty
the immediate
much
aftermath of this, and dealing with Sam Lester escaping. Like, the show jumps into all this stuff. Like, even the end of the first season, there are so many keys in play at the end of the first season, and like, so the mom's starting to figure stuff out, and like, because the mom's going to eventually. You kind of know in your head, like, okay, she's going to eventually know about this. She's going to get the story of what happened to her husband, and that's going to be part of it because she's a factor in it. She has to be. I mean, But at the same time, it's like, she's not overwhelming in this. In the show, it gets to that overwhelming thing of like where they have to have her. Oh, she knows what's going on, or something happens that she forgets, and then she works it out later, and she's trying to work this out, and it feels like it bogs the show down a little bit. Don't get me wrong, the actress is great; she does a great job. But it's just the character, the way it's laid out, just doesn't feel. And I don't know how much it echoes future volumes because I've not read past volume 1.
Yeah, I feel like the core group of characters that they have, I feel like they're fleshed out perfectly. I don't feel like there's too many of them. In the comic, I don't feel like there's too many of them. I feel like there's just the right amount. And like you said, and I didn't realize this when I read it through the first time, everybody has their own chapter in this.
Yeah.
Because I wrote down in my notes, I said, I feel like everybody has their own story. And they literally do in this volume. Everybody basically has their own chapter devoted to their story. It's just done so well. And like you said, I think the peripheral characters are written really well. They push the story along without feeling unnecessary. They feel integral to the story without like stepping on the main cast, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, that's another one of the issues in the TV show, I feel like, is like there's so many extra characters and extra like add-on stories that really don't need to be there.
Yeah.
Like Kinsey, like in the show, meets a group of friends and has like 4 people that she's friends with at school, and 2 of them are guys who like her, so she ends up deciding, you know what, I'm just going to date both of you, and she tells them up front, I'm going to date both of you, like, are you both okay with that, and all this. I'm like, this isn't needed.
No.
But there's a whole thing with like Tyler trying to get in.
It's not needed, and it's weird.
Yeah, trying to get in with the popular kids, and like a girlfriend that he kind of has and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm like, your dad's just dead. Like, you're literally weeks, if not a couple of months, from like having processed this. I'm like, I prefer this stuff like that. It's like, yeah, of course he likes girls. He's 18.
Yeah.
It's not going to be at the forefront of his mind because he's still freaking guilty that he thinks he got his dad killed. That he's the one responsible, and he feels responsible because he's the one that told Sam to do it. You know, it's like it's like, why are you adding all this random weird crap in? It's not needed.
I feel like one thing that aids in the storytelling of this is the we've talked a little bit about it, but the art style and specifically the color scheme of the comic.
Absolutely.
Like, I know you've probably noticed it, but like when you're going through, there's no really vivid color used. It's all
No.
subdued. It's almost like all shades of gray, like blue, darker reds, a lot of blacks, dark browns. It's just very subdued. And it's almost like, it almost has, I know this term is used a lot, but it's almost like a cinematic feel to a graphic novel. And the bold outlines of the characters make everything pop. And again, the way that they're laying out the panels is just awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely adds to it. And I mean, and do you have anything to add on to the art stuff of it? Obviously, you're coming at the art stuff as an actual artist, like, because I love the layout of it, and like absolutely, I didn't even think about that. The color scheme is definitely a factor. Like, you feel like there's this cloud over it, which is there's this cloud over the characters, but you see it in the color.
Yeah, so I think one good thing that that I like from stories is when they call back to stuff. Everybody likes Easter eggs, however big or small they are. But like when I'm reading something, I like being rewarded for paying attention. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for visual too. Like, for instance, like, again, the way that they call back on certain panels. Like, for instance, this is after Tyler's dad dies. He's looking in a pond, or he's looking in a pool, and he's imagining himself as different versions of himself if he were to have gone different paths. That's the turtle crap that we talked about earlier. But 20 pages into the book, they call back to a similar where he's showing a current version, or the nightmare version that actually happened of himself and what he actually looked like.
Yeah, what he did to Sam and what he looked after he beat him down.
So it's like you can tell that you can visually see that they're processing it, but you can also, like, it goes into their mental psyche about how they're processing the grief as well. And like just the way, like, even the detail so far as Tyler looks like Rendell. He looks like he's his son.
Oh yeah,
and Duncan
100%.
looks related to Rendell. They look related. They're different. They have their own unique characteristics, but you can tell they're an actual family. They look related. They have some of the same mannerisms. It's just really cool. Like, the attention to detail and just the art is just awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I never even thought of that as well. But yeah, they do. They look so much like each other. Like, they literally, like, the family look like Tyler looks in that pool, and like, he partially sees his dad. He's got the same facial structure and stuff, and
yeah.
And that was kind of one of the things I hated about the show as well, in a little bit, is that I felt like Tyler was miscast. The kid's a great actor that they get, don't get me wrong, 100%. Hey, Chunk the Hut in the house, coming back in, subscribing at tier 1.
What's up, yo?
Hey,
thanks,
saying,
dude.
Hey guys, thank you so much for that subbing again, Chunk. Absolutely appreciate it. Chunk, the absolute legend, the winner of last month for us, with like your tossing gifted subs left, right, and center. Glad you can make it in, man. Thank you for coming in and joining us. But yeah, like, kind of like you said, like, they look like family, but like, the kid's a great actor on the show. But I just look at him and I'm like, I feel like this is a closer thing of what I think of Tyler, like this kind of stocky, well built kind of kid.
Yeah,
not like this, pretty boy looking sort of kid.
But like, all right, so again, I'm gonna show you guys a panel, but just the way that they lay out Sam's story, like, this is him with the fisherman. They're going across the lake to the Lovecraft mansion, and the fisherman is trying to light a cigarette, and you see Sam just hanging out, and you see the island, and then the next shot you see a bang right there, and then you see him just holding the wheel. It's just the way that they subtly, he just murdered the fisherman.
Yeah,
they didn't show it. Nothing gratuitous, and his facial expression didn't even change, and he just takes.
He didn't even move. He didn't even move over to the wheel. He literally just stuck his hand out, and I'm like.
And that there was no exposition. Like, all that could have been said is Sam kills the fisherman, but the way that they did it just added to that, the tension and the drama and the character development and all that stuff. It's just so good.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, it's just so well done. It's just it's such a well crafted book, and
I mean, I'm a huge fan. Again, I keep talking about the art. I'm a huge fan of vivid colors and comics.
Go for it. The art's amazing, man. Keep talking
really,
about it.
Really bold colors, really vivid colors, really like high value, really dark darks, really light lights, just for contrast. But this is the complete opposite of that, which I normally like, and it works perfect. I would not want this comic to be colored or inked. any other way or drawn any other way. I think it's done perfect.
No, it fits it perfectly, and it just the way they do it. There's a scene here. Okay, I need to show this, but I'm gonna have to cover up like actual Sam, and it's the scene where like Tyler and Sam fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to cover up Sam to show this properly.
Yes, I have that. I had that marked. Yes.
It's literally just a black page, and where there would be panels, there isn't even panel lines, but like it's the storytelling all the way up to like when Tyler like beats Sam with a brick.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at it. It's so beautifully laid out, and I'm not going to show like what Sam looks like because Sam's like bloodied and beaten. Again, I don't want Twitch to ban us, but it's so well constructed. Like, I would never have thought of that. Like putting like basically different actions that would be in different panels, but all just this one big black page because they're in the cellar. It's pitch black. They can barely see a thing. So in the same time, we can barely see a thing.
Yeah.
And it really draws you in. It's
And that's the thing.
so well done.
They don't do a lot of like those types of one pages, like splash pages or whatever. But when they do, it's super effective.
Yeah, they're
Super
used
effective.
sparingly and where they need to be used. Like they use them where they want.
Like this one, for instance. This is Bodhi finally finding that well house and figuring out that there's something in the well talking to him. And it's just literally a page of him walking in, but the perspective done on it, the coloring, the light coming through the window. It's just done so awesome.
It's done in a way that draws you in because it's like it makes you realize like this is big, like this is a point in the story you have to pay attention, and it's like it's just I mean like Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez, like go and check out other stuff they've done if you want. They're on social media. You can find them on Twitter, Instagram, and wherever. You can find their stuff on Amazon. They've done plenty of other stuff. But like Locke and Key is going back through it has honestly been such a treat. It's probably the best way to see it. It's been such an enjoyment.
Yeah.
Probably, I'd almost say probably my favorite graphic novel.
Yeah.
Probably like period. Like I can't think of another graphic novel on par with it. Not another indie story, not another one that Marvel and DC have done. Like they've done some great stories, but like there's something about Locke and Key that just stands out to me.
Yeah. It's compelling.
Locke and Key is my example of if you aren't reading indie comics, if the only thing you ever pick up is Marvel and DC, you are missing some amazing stories.
It's just a fulfilling story. Like it's a rewarding story.
Oh yeah. And that's just the first volume. I can only imagine how rewarding it's going to be when we go through them, and we will do the rest of them on the Indie Comic Book Club 100%.
Yeah.
This is a series I want to like. Obviously, we'll do it sparingly. It won't be like 6 months straight of it.
We're doing it 6 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it's just 6 weeks straight of Locke and Key. But like, we'll definitely come back to it because I think there's 6 volumes in total, at least the main story, and so yeah, 100% we'll be coming back to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why like below me I put we're doing Locke and Key Volume 1 was because I fully intend to come back and do volumes 2 through 6.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the perfect launch book for me. There's no other book we could have kicked this off with.
Yeah.
I feel like after the same launch as this,
After I wrapped it up, I felt like I did after I watched Infinity War. I was like, I immediately want more.
Yeah,
like,
I need to know what happens.
Before even getting
next.
up out of my seat, I need to know what happens next.
Yeah, I need to know where the story goes. And like I said to you, I even said to you before we started streaming, like I'm kind of sad finishing it because like part of me is like it's really good to read it again, but the other part of me is like I've read this though. I need the next one. I need it.
Yeah.
Like I literally went to the comic book store to pick up our copies of Claws, and it's like I didn't have the money, but like I saw Locke and Key Volume 2 on the shelf, and I had to fight myself to not pick it up and buy it because I'm like I literally don't have the cash for it. Then
Dude, I even legitimately recommended this to Joy, my wife. Like, she's not a huge comic reader, but she's a writer, and she loves to write, and she really appreciates good writing and books and films and shows and stuff. And I'm like, dude, you would love this. The writing is super smart. I think the characters are like super well rounded, and it's such a good book, man.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, so yeah, I think we've kind of covered most of the stuff for the book. I think.
Yeah.
If this is a story that you guys are at all interested in, if you want to pick it up for yourself or pick up any of the other copies, like I said, I'll throw the links up there again for you. It's like 100% we are big advocates of checking out the local comic book stores and supporting them. Again, massive shout out to Richmond Comics, our local comic store, just not that far from where we are actually.
Yeah.
Who hooked us up with copies of our book for December, which I'll talk about in a minute. Whoa!
Love the unicorn heart.
Chunk,
right? Unicorn?
Yeah, Chunk the
Nice.
Hut coming in with 400 bits. Thank you so much, Chunk, man. Chunk, we're changing it up this month. It was gifted subs, now we're throwing bits. But thank you so much, Chunk.
I feel like Chunk might secretly be Bill Gates.
Yeah, just throwing stuff. Ooh, I like that hype emote seal. That's cool. That's a cool one. I like that one.
That is sweet.
Kind of like the D-pad. It's kind of cool. But yeah, so like go ahead and click on those links that I shared there and check out your local comic book store and give them support. Like, massive shout out to Richmond Comics for hooking us up, and I'll definitely be reaching out to them for future kind of comics and stuff for indie comic book. If you cannot find them there or at your local places, then definitely head over to Amazon. Like I said, that link that we've got there is straight to our wish list that we created, where we're going to put all the books that are coming up for the Indie Comic Book Club. As soon as we get them, we'll add them on there, or we know we're going to do them, I'll add it on there for the upcoming one. So you can find Locke and Key on there, and also on there you can find our next one that we were talking about, Claws. If Jenny, you missed, this is the one we're going to be doing in December. I'm going to be taking 6 weeks off with the baby coming, so either our first or second week back we are going to delve into Claws.
Speaking of, don't forget, next week we're going to be doing an art stream, and then we'll be doing some gaming streams as well while Cross is out. I'm debating having a guest or two. I have a couple in mind, and I'll probably be reaching out to them within the next week or so. So don't stop coming.
Okay.
I'll be here.
Okay, you want a glimpse here? Sorry, I know you're advertising stuff. Do you want a glimpse
No,
of
it's all
what's
good.
coming in Claws? Because I literally just started flicking it and I stopped in this page.
Nice.
Just, little glimpse of what's to come.
Just a demon reindeer and Santa Claus killing him with a knife.
And his pet wolf. But like, yeah, so this is going to be the one we're going to be doing in December, probably the second week. Also on the front, shout out to
Whoa.
Seal the Centurion just subscribed. Oh,
What?
no, a whole bunch of people. Chunk,
Chunk the Hut.
dude, you are freaking insane, man. Thank you so much for that, Chunk. I mean, I don't even know how to respond. It's like, it blows my mind. So massive shout out to. Okay, these are going to pop off for a while. So thank you, Chunk, for gifting tier 1 subs to Seal the Centurion, Queen Gamington, Trackman87, the Theologian, and Super Bias. Thank you so much for gifting those. All of you have been
Good grief, dude.
added on. As this still keeps going off here, you are now in the next level of the Comic Clan, which we call the Stan Clan. So Super Stan welcomes you to the Stan Clan level of the group. Thank you so much, Chunk, man, for just...
You're a beast, Chunk.
Yeah, man, for 5 gifted subs there. Thank you
You're
so much.
absolute
That's
beast.
after 400 bits. Like, dude, thank you so much, man.
I'm saying Bill Gates.
Greatly
I'm just
appreciate
saying.
it. Yeah. But sorry, I'm not Bill Gates. Like, see,
I
that's,
don't believe
that's
it.
exactly what Bill Gates would say.
That's exactly what Bill Gates would say if he was lurking in chat gifting subs to everybody.
But thank you so much, Chunk. Honestly, thank you, man. I greatly appreciate it, brother. Oh, legend. I cannot say thank you enough to that, honestly. Yeah, that's left me speechless for ending the show today, honestly. I was literally going to like plug a bit more of Claws there, and just my mind went blank there. So one thing that was for this book I didn't want to mention, it's on the cover here. If you can see this on the front, if I can get it to focus, and that's an approval of, it was the Will Eisner Awards that go out to comic books. This was a nominee for the best penciler and inker.
Nice.
Was nominated back in 2017 for the Will Eisner nominee for that. So that's a little hint of, like, although it didn't win, it's some pretty good artwork in this, and having a flick through it, like, it's freaking sweet. So you guys have got a month or so to pick this up. Ads, if you're still here, regardless, I don't care if you even show up for the show, this is for you. This Viking Santa Claus and his pet wolf, this one is for you. You need to get this 100%. As soon as I looked at it, and I'm like, yeah, that's one Ads needs to read. He's all about the Viking stuff. But yeah.
Yeah.
Claus
And just to plug... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Claus is going to be an amazing read, and it's 100% going to be our Christmas book. And I
Yes,
I
that's gonna be
literally,
awesome.
I picked him up at Richmond Comics, and I talked to the guy at the checkout, and he says that they'd done it for, like, they do a book club, and they done it last Christmas. And he says, like, yeah, this is my headcanon for, like, Santa Claus now. This is what Santa Claus is. So I'm like,
That's awesome.
so yeah, you want to change your view of Santa Claus and who he is for years to come? I know that'll be terrifying for some of you who are parents. Like that. How are you telling your kids about Santa Claus might forever change? But like in December, we will be diving into it. But yeah, were you going to say something, bro?
No, I was just gonna again promote the next couple weeks.
Yeah, go
Cross
for it,
is
man.
gonna
Say
be
it.
off. Cross is gonna be off for the next 5 weeks. So I think the week after Thanksgiving we will not have a stream, but every other week I will be solo, unless we get a guest. But I'll be doing some art streams, some gaming streams. So pop in Discord if you have any specific people, characters, comic characters that you want me to draw, or anything specific that you want me to draw comic related, and we'll try to hook that up. And then gaming, I'll be playing Among Us more than likely, which I'll be getting. So I'll be doing some shout outs on Twitter and Discord and stuff like that. Try to get some groups together for the streams. So rock on.
Awesome. Yeah, so it should be an amazing few weeks. And for anyone who missed it at the very start, as Nitro said, I'm going to be out for the next few weeks, and with the baby coming. I'm going to be out probably till the end of November at least, and then last week in November, like you said, it's going to be after Thanksgiving. For all of you who are not in America, hope you have a great week anyway. For all of you in America, like, yeah, we're probably going to take that time off, even if we're not really going anywhere. Would you draw fictional wrestlers? LOL.
I don't know. Depends.
Send him some pictures, Queen, if you want to send like Rosa Eden to him to try and do some drawings for him. I'm pretty sure he'd be up for it. Because there's some.
It was
pictures.
nice meeting you too, Co-op.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you, Nitro. I'll still tune in. Yeah, thank you so much for stopping by, Coop. Absolutely amazing having you in here. Thank you for popping in and showing some love. Absolutely love them. Again, let me get some shouts here today.
Yeah, can their nickname officially be Coop? Can we call him Coop?
That's what I call
Okay.
him. Like
Okay,
literally
sweet.
anytime we play games with him, like he goes by Watson, but like literally I've called him Coop, and it's at the point now I've done it so long as a joke I can't stop. So it's just
Right.
he is Coop now.
You are Coop now. So
It's
just
like,
FYI.
it's Coop, also aka
Coop.
Watson, along with Nick and Benita. They are the Co-op Trio podcast. They are awesome, good friends of the show. Yeah, it's Queen's Rosa Eden from the online leagues. Ads is also part of those leagues as well. That is Coop now, LL. Yes. Coop is sus. He is very sus, Seal. Seal, unfortunately, is not sus, and that's a problem because usually he's a killer and he is not sus.
What is sus?
That's like the thing that came out of like Among Us, like someone sus is
Oh.
them, they're suspicious of being the imposter. Let me do a shout out to Seal as well since he's popping in. I meant to do it earlier and we were on a rant, so I forgot. Seal is also another streamer. It looks like he was playing Total War Saga Thrones of Britannia last time. He also plays a lot of I think it's Warships, one of the main games he plays. He does a bit of Minecraft as well. So go ahead and give Seal some love as well. He is another good friend that I met through Coop and the Co-op Trio podcast. Redeemed, add fight to next superhero square goal. Ooh, my chat is telling me to do this. Right. Well, there you go. You have redeemed. Let me write that down because I will forget. If you have a fight in mind, Chunk, go ahead and tell me.
Yes.
If
And
not,
for those of you who don't know what the square go is, that's basically our version of a fight card between comic characters.
yes, you can find that on like in our YouTube. We actually did a previous one where we put together a fight card, pitting superheroes and villains from various comics against each other. So yeah, you've redeemed you had 1,500 points already. Dang. Not that I'm complaining. You've gave us pretty much so many like gifted subs and bits at this point. But yeah, if there's a fight that you want to see on that card, you can officially put it on that next card. Just let us know who you would like to see square off, and we'll definitely look at doing it. Because we do need to do another square go. It's been a while. You see, I know I'm another call, but I don't want people killing me. But yeah, so they're part of that work. And Rosa, if you want to go ahead, or Queen Gamington, whatever we're going by, if you want to send us some stuff, some pictures of Rosa for Nitro to draw, I'm pretty sure he'd be up for that. Push him out of his comfort zone with something a little different. So
We'll see.
Definitely give it to him and see if it's something he's able to do. I mean, definitely give it a try. But yeah, that is us for this week. Thank you for everyone that came out and joined us.
This was awesome. This was a lot of
Thank you
fun,
for the
man.
follows, for the subs, the resubs, the gifted subs, the bits that were dropped.
Thank you, Bill Gates, for dropping by.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
thank you, Bill. We appreciate it. And thank you to all the viewers that came in. We had a good number of viewers this week as well. You guys, thank you for making our first indie comic book club such a massive success.
Yeah, this is awesome.
It's insane. Like, I honestly didn't know if that many people were going to be interested in it, and thank you so much for stopping by. I am going to love you and leave you all, and it's like I'm honestly going to miss being involved with the community for the next few weeks. I say that now. I'm probably not going to miss it at the time because I'll be a bit sleep deprived for the next few weeks with the new baby, as well as taking care of the other kids. So,
I'll bring you some coffee, man.
I need it. Hey, Gamer Grind, if you're watching, I need more. I don't have enough.
He's having a baby, man. Hook him up.
Bill Gates would also decline. Yeah, I just they offered Chunk the Hut some stuff, so like, dude, we're gonna give you something for free, and I said, nah, it's cool. And like, dude, that offer's still there if you ever change your mind. Just saying, like, if you're gonna keep throwing money our way, then 100% that offer's still there, dude.
Yes.
But yeah, massive shout out to Chunk. Thank you, brother. You absolute legend. Cannot appreciate it enough. All right, let us jump over to Twitch, who is live, and we can do a little bit of a raid. Oh, Geek Devotions. Are they live? Are they just starting?
That's a little better. And let's see here.
Yeah, he's going to be doing some Smash Brothers. Let's go Geek Devotions. They're not usually on at this time.
Let's do it.
Looks like they're going to be doing some Smash Brothers. So we're going to head over and show some love to Geek Devotions. If anyone who's in chat can stay here and just join us in the raid. If you have got... No, I cannot. That's a cheer thing. I can't cheer them on site. So if you guys can throw up some raid and hype emotes. There is a raid one. It's a general one that we chuck in along with our hype. If you've got it, if you're subbed. To go ahead and throw them up when we head over there. Just show them some love, drop them some follows, and hang out in the chat if you can. It would be absolutely amazing. But thank you to everyone that came along today. Make sure you come along next week to join Nitro. It's going to be an art stream next week, Nitro.
Yep.
So make sure you join him for some art stuff. Make sure you hit up our Discord and social medias. Let me throw them up quickly. To drop him some ideas of what you want to see drawn, of what stuff you want to see happening. So that he's got some ideas of what to do, because we've got a few weeks to fill, so go ahead and throw it at him.
Let's do it.
Alright, but apart from that, guys, we are going to head out. I'm going to head to our stream ending page, and then we're going to jump over and raid Geek Devotions. But you all have an amazing week, and we'll catch you all later.
See you, everybody. Thanks again.
Peace.